Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Reclaim Podcast. Please remember to like and subscribe because it's the only way we get to continue to do this.
I love that reminder. It's perfect.
It is. We touched on something in the last episode towards the end around experiencing joy.
Yeah.
And we're going to make a whole episode about it. There's so much pain in the world and so many things happening globally.
Do you feel other people's pain too? Like it's not just yours?
I do. I feel when I watch things that are happening like in other countries, how women, so specifically, right? How women lack so many rights in other countries where women can't walk out of their house without having to worry about being raped, killed, beaten for existing. That makes me feel so privileged, and that why should I have any reason to ever feel bad about my life, number one, right? So there's guilty about feeling joy.
Yes.
I get a lot of guilt. And when I do start to experience joy, my immediate reaction in my body is to think of things that are going wrong to almost counteract it. You know, like when someone says to me, "How are you?" My actual reaction is, "I'm great, actually. Like, I'm amazing. Everything in my life is going wonderful right now. My job is great. My child is great. My divorce is finalized, and my co-parent and I are in a good place. I have these wonderful hobbies. I'm amazing."
Yeah.
And that feels so icky to say.
Really?
It does. It does. Because I feel like if I'm saying that to somebody who doesn't have wonderful things happening in their life, that I am now, whether I'm being pompous or I'm bragging. So I always finish it with, "Oh, but I'm so stressed," or "things are kind of crazy," and I start to like layer in these other comments about my life to almost make it not seem so great. And do I have stuff that goes on that isn't great? Of course I do. But on the most part, I'm like really happy right now. And I understand that happiness right now is a moment in time. This is an upswing, and we will come back as we always do. But it's been really hard for me to accept that I'm in this really joyous place, and I feel guilty about it.
So I think a couple things. One is, yes, there's always the ebb and flow, but even in the down cycle or what we perceive as negative, there's always a way to find something that contains joy for us, like always. Not the shitty gratitude lists, like not the fake stuff, but like the real stuff, like we talked about. And I think, too, that we're conditioned to not brag, to not be too much, And I went through that, too, a while back. I should say I came out of it a while back. For the majority of my life, I would always have but, it's like, "Oh, that amazing dress, where'd you get it? Oh, it was on sale." Like it's that whole,
Yes.
but with everything.
I love your hair.
Yeah.
Oh,
it took me forever.
Yeah. You've lost so much weight. Oh, I still have 20 pounds to go.
Right. Your business is going so well. Oh yeah, but it hasn't scaled where I want it to yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the automatic.
And it brings us to this place where we have to give ourselves permission to feel the joy.
Yes.
And I talked about that recently on a video where I had all of these emotions coming up because I felt so happy, and it felt really uncomfortable to feel so happy and to feel so safe. And when you've lived in fight or flight for a long time, and you've lived in this period of, well, I'm so used to things going wrong, or I'm so used to the other shoe dropping.
Yes.
You wait for it. And as I said, everything is an ebb and flow. So will bad things happen? Yes.
Yep.
Will things go wrong? Absolutely. But how do we get just more comfortable being happy when happy is appropriate?
One of the things that I did years ago, and okay, this is where Melissa's crazy comes out. So I decided that no matter what was showing itself to me, it was there for my good. Mm-hmm. And there were times when, like it's a very small example, trivial. I applied it to much deeper, heavier things, but this is just top of mind right now. I was refinancing my house, and you know my story. Like I came from like complete rebuild after a divorce. So here I'm in my house, so grateful. I call it my pretty house. I talk to my house like I love her so much. Like she's amazing. All this gratitude and joy. But I was refinancing and something, I don't know, something went wrong. And you know how refinances are, like you have a window of time and you can, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to like freak out and I started to feel like it wasn't going to go through. And I was like, wait, Melissa, you know how this works. Just decide that that thing is taken care of. And something magical is going to happen. Like, just be a little delusional. It's okay. Just do it. And I even said to my mortgage guy, I'm like, you watch. Something really cool is going to come out of this. And it did. It was like, I think the inspector like didn't show up or something. And then all of a sudden the mortgage guy calls me and goes, you know what? They actually don't even need an inspection anymore. Like something random that nobody could have predicted. But I do that with everything now. I just decide this is here for me and it's somehow going to benefit. And I think that that helps us hold space for joy because it gets us out of that negative cycle of, oh, but that, you know, of like, I could have just said, well, of course the inspection wasn't going to go right.
So many of us get stuck in this place of, and I was there for years.
Oh,
where,
yeah.
and that was like the biggest shift in my life was 2021. So December of 2020, a couple of girlfriends and I went out to lunch, and my girlfriend, Sam, I'll give Sam a little shout out. My girlfriend, Sam, gave us this manifestation book where it was the first time I had ever written out manifestations. And it gave me this different perspective on, I have a choice on how I want to think about things. My brain wants me to go to the negative. We're hardwired to go to the negative.
Sure
It's
are.
a protective thing. If I constantly think about the worst thing that could happen, I won't be shocked when it does.
Right. Yep. Safety.
And if you believe in energy and you believe in manifestation and you believe, and scientifically they're backing manifestation up,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
energy that you put out there becomes the energy that you receive back. And I started to write out, it has you write out like 5 manifestations. I started to write them out. And this was a big part of when I knew that my divorce was pretty much imminent, because everything that I wrote about my future, I would try to write with my husband's name. Like, we couldn't do it. Like like the pen wouldn't go. And I was sitting here thinking to myself, wow, I can't design. When I think about designing a future that feels beautiful, happy, and loving for me, he's not in it. He's not in it.
And you have to choose, is it my joy or is it this path I'm currently on?
Mm-hmm. So that was about 9 months before we separated. But that was kind of the start where I started to realize that the future that I was envisioning for myself didn't include him the way that things currently were. And if they weren't changing, then that was never going to change.
Right.
But I made a conscious effort for an entire year to challenge every thought that came into my head that had that old negative pattern in it of, well, this is just, oh, isn't this just dandy, right? Like when a day would go bad, my normal reaction used to be, well, there's the fucking day, or, well, that was a shitty day. I made myself change that thought process to, there were challenges today, but we survived it and we're better for it.
Yes. Yeah.
When something would break down in my car, okay, that sucks. Oh, this stupid fucking piece of shit. You know? Or so glad that so grateful that I've got the money in my account to fix this right now.
Yes.
Grateful that I have a vehicle that still drives. And an interesting one, you have to be careful when you put out into the universe that you want to make some serious changes in your life or you're asking for a certain result. don't be surprised when shit blows the fuck up.
It always does.
It always does.
Chaos always ensues. It has to, because the old energy has to clear out for the new to come in.
Last year, I've talked about it quite a bit, financially was in a really horrible place. So December, Christmas of 22 going into 23, I could not afford Christmas gifts for my kid. I had no money. People came and sent gifts for her, friends of mine. It was the most magical Christmas because so many people came together. And then I went on Facebook Marketplace and I was able to get like a Barbie dream house. Someone sold me a huge Barbie dream house for like $20. I'll never forget that. That was like the most amazing thing. But I came into New Year's of 23 with looking at my accounts thinking, wow, I am in a really bad spot here. And my car at the time was this big Chevy Traverse that was a gas guzzler. It needed a lot of maintenance. And with the amount of miles I drive, it just was killing me. It really was. And I bought this 7-passenger vehicle when I was married and thought that we were going to have a ton of kids. And we had already I had my stepson and my nephew, and I thought we were going to take all these vacations together with the dog. The dog needed his own seat. So I'm now just like a single mom with a 1-year-old who has this huge Chevy Traverse. Why do I need this car?
Right. Right.
And I'm looking at the payments and I'm looking at the gas and I'm trying to budget and I'm thinking to myself, dude, I'm fucked. How am I going to get out of this? I can't sell it. I just bought it like 6 months before.
Yeah.
And I, kind of asked the universe, like, help me out here. I need to figure out how to make more money, or I need to figure out how to spend less money.
Yeah.
And then guess who totaled her car? 2 weeks later.
You just got to be ready.
Yeah.
Either really careful or like give better instructions.
Yes.
Like, okay, fucking help me, but don't let me total my car.
And it was a freak accident. I was parking in my driveway. I have a condo and there's a hill right past where my car parks.
Yeah.
And I did one of those stupid ass, like press the gas instead of the brake and went right over the fucking hill. And the whole bottom of the car got torn up and it was totaled. And because it was totaled, the money they gave me for the car, I actually had enough. I had about $3,000 extra from the amount. And I went and bought this tiny little Nissan Juke 2011 that I fill my tank for $35. So I was spending $100 to fill my tank. I went to $35. I went from a 7-passenger vehicle to 5. We'll put 5 in quotations because it's a very, very small 5.
Yeah,
5 Melissas maybe, not 5 Connies. And it was but my immediate reaction was, oh my God, I can't believe I totaled my car. What the fuck am I going to do? This is awful. And then I thought about it and I was like, wow, you asked for this. You asked for a way out of this massive car payment that you really can't afford. Insurance was crazy. Gas was crazy. And now you're out.
Everything always happens for us.
The universe is always working in our favor.
Every time.
And I think that's what was coming into my head when you were just talking about how you think about things, because when you change your mindset to the universe is always working in my favor versus the mindset that I think as human beings we are prone to have of everything's working against me, everything's going wrong.
Yeah.
You decide what your mindset is, and it's a practice. It is an actual practice.
It for sure is. There's a lot of momentum built into the negative mindset.
Yep. And I think that every time you have this thought of, today was shitty, or that date was awful. Oh, why am I dating? Or why did I go out with this person? Or, if you can train your brain to think through all the ways where that could have been a positive for you, like, hey, okay, you went on a first date and it didn't work out. That person's not for you. That's great. But what did you learn about yourself tonight? Or what did you learn that you don't want in a partner?
And really, if you're putting it into practice, you need 4 positives to every 1 negative.
Oh, tell me about that.
Yeah. So science really says it's 3 positives to 1 negative, but that's just to neutralize it. So I always kick it up a notch. Like, let's give that 1 extra, because we're looking to, like, if you're really looking to shift and get out of that pattern and spiral, then you need to be purposeful and disciplined about it. Like, so make it 4 every time your mind has and this is not like, Like if you don't do it every time, it's not going to work. But just if you catch yourself having a negative thought, try to find 4 positives. And it doesn't even have to be about the same thing. I agree with you when it's something like that, like, oh, what a shitty date. Yes, go try to find 4 positives. Well, I looked fucking amazing. My outfit was killing it. The dinner was at least good. Like find the things. But you have to be really purposeful if you're trying to really reclaim, for sure.
And I know we talked about last time how gratitude can sometimes, we can get ourselves into this like toxicity of like, well, be grateful, be grateful. But I do think that if you do find yourself going to the negative quite a bit,
Yeah.
if you make yourself write down 3 things you're grateful for every day for a month, but you're not allowed to repeat anything.
So I do this on my mirror.
Do you?
My master bath mirror. I have a dry erase marker.
Yep.
And every day I write things and don't repeat. Like you said, that's important.
Don't repeat.
Yeah.
And the reason why not repeating is important is because it makes you dig down and think. Because by day 7, right, you've now written 21 things you're grateful for.
Coffee, chocolate, my kid.
Yeah.
We're done with that.
Yeah. Then you really have to start to think about, okay, well, what else am I grateful for? I've hit all the main things. I've hit family, friends, job. And I think I'm grateful for, and then you have to stop and you have to really dig down deep. And that's where the gym I go to, Orange Theory, one of the coaches will always say, how blessed are you that you get to run on the treadmill today?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know, and you don't think about that. So here I am on the treadmill, sweating my tits off, like gasping for breath, dying, can't wait for it to be over. And then I think about that person that's sick in bed who's got cancer and they can't get up and run, or someone who lost their legs and they would give anything to run a 5K. Right. And it totally changes my perspective. And that run now becomes, I'm going to finish this run because my body is grateful that it's here and able to do this. And I'm not going to give up and I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
So I think that it's an interesting thing when we challenge ourselves to take our mindset and to shift it. And we, I know we talk about that a lot as a society, like shift your mindset, but no one tells you how to.
Well, that's because society is far too focused on the mind and not on the heart-mind connection. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you can if it's cursory enough, if it's like surface enough, you can shift your mindset about most things. It's just a new habit, a new practice. But when it comes to reclaiming your fucking life and holding the joy within the new life, that's a much bigger thing that needs a different approach, which is like kind of what we touched on last time, which is really feeling the emotions separate from the mindset. Mm-hmm. Because instantly, when we don't want to feel something, even joy, our bodies will kick right up into the mind and start spinning.
And I've started to take little moments where I might look around. So my daughter could be playing on the beach and the sun is shining and the music's on. And I think to myself, wow, what a great moment, huh?
Yes.
What a beautiful, joyous moment. Let's take a minute to just feel what that feels like.
Yes.
And it's a moment. It doesn't mean that the whole day I'm walking around, I'm so joyous. I have so much joy. But for that moment, I try to bask in that for a second of this moment right here is a core memory to be remembered, or it's a core moment that feels really good. Let's feel that joy in our body, just like we feel the pain and the trauma and the anxiety. Where do we feel the joy?
Yes.
And it's a conscious effort that I'm making these days because, as I said, it feels so uncomfortable to be happy. I lived for 20 years in fight or flight. I lived for 20 years with a parent who was very sick. The illness took up a lot of space in my world. And I was just so used to, whether it be in my relationships, my partnership, my family, there was always this tragedy or this drama or trauma going on. And not to say that stuff doesn't still exist. I've just separated myself from it.
Yeah.
I've removed myself from being so involved in it that it no longer spirals me out of control, because I've reclaimed my life in a way where the only things that are going to spiral me are the things that I allow.
You know, what you were touching on, like the gratitude list and the moment of joy, it's kind of what we were talking about with boiling the frog the other
Yeah.
day, you know, because every woman, every human, mostly we speak to women, but we love you guys too, has had significant trauma. You know, mine is, it's 25 years. You know, my dad died unexpectedly and I found him. And then some of you guys know my divorce story. So, but my point is, I agree with you that it was the little bits and the boiling the frog and just like every little bit that I could get so that my body could get acclimated.
And if you're not familiar with the boiling the frog analogy, it's if you put a frog in lukewarm water and you turn the heat up slowly, over time, the frog gets so relaxed, it doesn't realize it's boiling.
Which in this instance, boiling is a good thing. Like
we're killing you with joy. In this instance, the way that Melissa and I were talking about it the other day when we were talking about this very subject was you have to slowly acclimate yourself to feeling these new feelings, because they are going to feel very uncomfortable. It's going to make you want to crawl out of your skin.
Oh.
If you are used to living in chaos,
fight or
flight, trauma, or drama, this is the other thing. When you reclaim your life and you pull yourself back from the trauma and the drama, then it's a little boring. Things can get a little quiet.
So fucking boring. Insanely
boring. Like
that's when I used to go on Tinder.
Like, yes, so you go on Tinder.
I need my dopamine hit. This is so.
I need to fuck myself up a little bit. Let me go find a man to do that for me. Yes. Thank you.
This is too peaceful. I don't know what to do with all this peace. I can't handle this.
It's so true. It's so true. You eventually will start to feel a lot better about the fact that there isn't all this trauma and drama constantly circling you like a tornado. But once again, that calmness has its own anxiety, because with the lack of chaos becomes open space for us to welcome new things in.
Yeah.
And you have to be very careful with what you welcome in.
Yeah, and that uncertainty is unnerving in and of itself. Just that open space where anything could be written. Mm-hmm. Just that in and of itself is like.
So how can we help people who are in this space of, okay, we've made some changes, life is feeling a little calmer, we've maybe cut out a lot of the toxic relationships we've had. Now, how do I feel okay with this open space that I have, with this new feeling of happiness or freedom or joy? How do we work through that?
So I think a lot of what we talked about so far is helpful. The gratitude lists, genuine gratitude lists, and the noticing moments of joy. I think it also takes a pattern interrupt in the moment when you notice that antsy feeling creeping in, when you sit and you're like, oh, I'm calm. And then that antsiness starts to kick in. Go do something that you normally wouldn't do, like immediately.
Like what?
Well, like if you're sitting and you're about to watch TV and you start to get, that's like your normal nightly routine. Get up and go take a walk. Or I'm famous for dancing around my house. There's always dancing happening.
Dancing has become, I think it's a somatic movement that we talked
is.
about.
Yeah.
When I'm feeling sad, angry, depressed, sad, like whatever, I was roller skating the other night, and there's this girl who roller skates every week, and I love watching her because she gives zero fucks about what anyone thinks, and she just like Just dance.
Like Phoebe running.
Well, the crazy inflatable man on Family Guy? It reminds me of that, right? Like, it reminds me of that. And so I was looking at her and I was like, wow, she looks so happy. And I had a really stressful day and I really felt it all in my body. And so I started skating and just being like, yes,
Yes.
yes,
You
yes.
got to move the energy.
And I felt like, oh, it's all coming so good. So there is something to be said about, like, you just move that body a little bit and it can really make quite the difference.
Yeah, my go-to pattern interrupt is movement. And a lot of times, well, and I guess it depends on, everyone has their own specific fight, flight, fawn, or freeze response. Mine tends to be freeze. So for me, the important pattern interrupt is get fucking moving. Do something while you're moving.
And when you start to feel joy more, you start to really be afraid of when the pain's going to come back.
Losing it. Yes.
Yeah, of losing it. Damn full moon. I'm getting emotional again. The fear of the lack of joy. What do I do when it goes away? I think that's where I pull gratitude back to say, I'm so grateful that right now I'm experiencing this joy. It's a moment in time and it feels great and beautiful and wonderful. And just like joy can't stay forever, neither can pain.
Yes. And that's when you've experienced things that are so traumatic that anytime you start to feel grief or, any of the emotions that were present during the trauma, then it makes you want to resist them because it was so heavy before that your body like instantly tenses and doesn't want to experience it. But then everything gets stuck, including the joy. So for me, it's been more about letting it all be neutral, letting it all be okay, so that I can not be so afraid of the next time grief is going to come, because it is going to come.
It is. It's impossible for it not to come, because without the rain, we would never know that sunshine was so beautiful, right?
We would not know the joy without the grief.
Nope. And we wouldn't have beautiful flowers if we didn't have rainstorms.
Right.
So as you go through this process of reclaiming your life, putting yourselves in scenarios where you're no longer accepting toxic behavior or your own bullshit or unhealthy coping mechanisms, you're going to leave a lot more room. And at first, it may not be joy that you feel. It may be absence, right? It just might be blank.
Yes.
And that's probably where the loneliness comes in. I think that's probably where that's that moment in time when you're in this transitionary period where, okay, I've done the tough thing. I left the marriage, or I left the job, or I cut out those friends, or I stopped drinking, or I stopped doing drugs. Why don't I feel happy yet? Well, because there's this period where I think you're going to get tested to make sure that you're ready for that next part.
And you don't want to fill it right away. You want to make sure that you're sitting and doing like what we're talking about, reacclimating yourself, getting to know yourself again. Not yourself doing the things like who you be, like you're being. And you have to sit in the silence to do that.
Silence, it's okay.
It is. It's so uncomfortable, but it's good.
And I find myself, I'm trying to get better with that, with the sitting, because people ask me, like, where do you get your energy? And I'm like, oh, it's a trauma response. I don't stop, because if I stop, then that's an opportunity for thoughts and the thinking and the loneliness and all of that to, come together. So I've started to create safer spaces for myself, like in my home, like places where they just feel really cozy and comfortable.
Yes.
That I can sit and be present and be more aware of, okay, if I feel lonely, that's okay. We're okay. We can be okay with that.
That's exactly it.
Like, we can be okay with being a little lonely today. We don't need to go fill that need right now.
Right.
We can sit in it, feel it, and then at some point I'm able to find some joy in that loneliness because I think about, well, if there was somebody else here with me.
And you just hit it. You just hit it. When you let the loneliness be there, the joy shows up.
Because you start to think about, well, isn't it joyous that I get to just like have this, moment to myself, or I've got this quiet time for me, or, I don't have anyone else to please right now. It really is just about pleasing myself.
Yeah.
And so you start taking those external things away and really start focusing on that internal joy. It's a game changer.
Oh, yes.
Thank you guys for joining us today on this episode where we talk about how to be okay with feeling the joy. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you next time on the Reclaim Podcast. No one is coming to save you.